Hey guys, it's Sharon with Little Britain Company. Welcome back to the channel. So this is part 3 of this mass make. And I really do mean it when I say, what was I thinking? It's just a lot. I'm trying to make 19 of the travel journals, and it was going along really well until I ran out of eyelets. So I was at the Stamp and Scrapbooking Expo this past weekend, and I was able to pick up some more eyelets. I will say, weird news, Office Supply has almost no crafting material right now. They had a message on there when I went on to say that they were that there was some problem with their distribution and that they would be back at some point, but right now they didn't have a timeline. And so I said, okay, well, if I can't get my eyelets there because I was going to order even more, I'll go to, let's see what they have at American Craft. American Craft, it has nothing. Their online store is closed at the moment, with a message saying that they had some bad weather go through and there was damage to their warehouse and they're assessing the damage. So, wow. So a lot of the places where we get our product from, they're not up and running right now. And that's kind of something. So I'm glad I got what I did. And I had ordered some eyelets from Amazon. And I did use those on one of my, is it this one? Did I do this one? No. I did use those eyelets on one of my travel journals. And they were 3/16 of an inch, which is what I use, but they were bigger. They were like a bigger 3/16 of an inch, which honestly doesn't make any sense at all. So I wasn't real happy with those. I was really trying to find others. So anyway, today is all about decorating the covers and prepping them and running them and trying to finish the covers. Let's hope that it takes, doesn't take too terribly long. So these two I have two journals that are train themed. They have my train paper on them. So move that out of the way. I plan on using the black cover with this pretty little piece here. But I felt like it wasn't popping enough. So I think I'm going to be using this really cool red, to me, it's like a train red. Okay, puppy. One moment, please. So I calmed the dogs down and then realized that I was missing a whole bunch of stuff because I had to go grab some of my stuff that I had taken to the expo that I have not put back yet. So here we go. This is better. Oh my goodness, and there goes the pup again. I don't know what she's barking at. If I had to guess, I would say that she is barking at a bird. Okay, there we go. By the way, this is how I travel with I love these cases. I get them at Hobby Lobby, and you would not believe how much is in here. You just would not believe. I have in punches and scissors and glues and tapes and, honestly, all sorts of stuff. This one's barely, I could have fit tons more in this one. I love traveling with these. Also because it's kind of a hard case and I know what's in there is fairly protected. So anyway, let me put those over here. Realized I was going to need my trimmers. Okay. So I'm going to add, this one is approximately 3 by just a little over 2. Okay, so this one is about 3 by 2. So I'm going to make this, and this one is 3.5 by just a lot. So let's do if that's 3, I don't want this to be 3.5 because I don't want it to go, that can't be, it has to be more than 3.5. That's just, it would be really big. Yeah, it's 3.5. And this one is definitely 3. Let's do approximately 3.25 by, well, I'll do the thinner side first. This is 2, so I'm gonna have to do 2.25 because you want your dimensions to be the same all around. This, by the way, is a really thin paper, which I think is going to be better for these because once it goes through the machine, it's nice that the thinner it is, the better it's going to sit. Do it this way. No, nope, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, and then this one's going to be 3.25. So weird. Like it's not even. Okay. Same thing happened. Okay. Oh, that's actually, so that on here, it's going to make the cover. Okay, so this one is also 3 by 2, so we're going to do the same thing. This way. So I'm going to do 2.25. Is it just that the paper is uneven? Very possible. 2.25 by 3.25. Move this out of the way. Yeah, this definitely needed a border. Okay, and my glue is in here. Wow, where's my other glue? My other Nuvo glue. That's... Huh, okay, this is gonna be interesting. Okay, this one, it's not coming out. Wow, that one's being very difficult. Nice. Maybe stick this back in here. I don't normally have problems with this one. I'm sure this is, yeah, that's moving again. Okay. And I'm gonna get my scoring tool out. I don't know which one, I think it's in this one. That's weird. My other bottle. We packed up pretty fast. I hope it didn't get left behind. That would be terrible. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, those look so cute. was thinking for someone who's a train enthusiast, my word, I can't get it out. This one is being really weird. I may have to go get my, may have to get another bottle of glue out. This is just being really weird. This one usually sits in the stand. Okay. Let's see, that's about right. One cover. And then once it's laminated, it's going to really make everything pop. Yeah, this one really needs the trigger. It is very difficult to squeeze without the trigger, but with the trigger, it's fantastic. Okay, and there's the luxury train. So, 2 down. All right. This is what I get for not putting everything away before I come back in to do stuff. Let me see if I can close that. There we go. I actually have my other glue here too, so let's just make sure we can use it. One moment, please. Okay, I think we are up and running with this bottle of glue until I can go extricate my other ones from all my stuff. Okay, 2 down. Now these, okay. Let me see what else I've got going here. There's just a lot of different ones now I'm going to have to work out. And the funny thing is I kept everything together for so long. Remember how I was keeping these together so carefully? But now I have to basically sort them all back away from each other because I can't do that when I laminate. I'm going to have to pull out all of the different pieces. So I don't know if that made sense. I'm going to have to pull the folders because the folders are going to have to be laminated and I just can't keep it all together that way. So it worked for a while. It was nice to keep it together for a while. And I do think it gave me a better heads up about what's going to be where. Like I kind of like that in there. But in the long run, I've got to pull these out. Okay. I don't want to knock them to the floor because that would be a pain. That would just be a pain. All right, so these 3 shouldn't just be summer. This one's one of the summer ones. Yep. And more summer. So, how many summer ones do I have? Shoot. Okay. Those are the summer. And these are summer. Oh, those are travel. I think these are all travel. I'm going to move these out of the way for a minute. Some of them. Those are definitely travel. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Yes, 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 yes. That is correct. Okay. Folders. Those are going to go aside. So let me decide Put those completely out of the way. And then I'm going to decide what is going to go where. I actually really like that one there. So, I mean, that one works either place. This one doesn't. So I'm not necessarily loving that one there, but do I like it here? I could put a little green behind that one. I like that one. Slice of summer there. And then I do like that summer fun. Okay, so I like these here. And I don't really feel like I need to back up many of them. I think I'm going to put a back on this one. And I might put it back on that one. Let's see. But these I think are fine. Let me just make sure that I think these are going to be just fine. Just centered and in there. Oh, this one's got to be... This one's got to have a little tiny trim. It had a bit of residue on it. And what I think I might do with this one is put my pins back in there. Corner it. Yeah. Perfect. Oh, that's fun. Okay, guys, this is what happens to your glue when your pen is actually not sterling silver on the inside and it rusts. And I just really, really hope that that rust does not come through. It shouldn't show through because luckily this is Echo Park papers and they are nice and thick. Cute. Okay, so these are the three. You can see most of the yucky stuff was at the front. Let's see if I can center this one a little bit better. All right, two. And I love that these are going together so quickly. I do need to make sure that this one doesn't, the glue doesn't seal back up on me. Now, right now, I'm using the same pens, which, by the way, were supposed to be sterling. You know, I run into this before. I had a very sweet, one of you guys, sweet viewer, sent me some sterling before, and it was great. And those pens, but you use them, and as you're using them, you know, you're using them, and they lasted for a while. They gave me a good long time, which was fantastic and much appreciated. Okay, so what am I going to put behind this one? I wonder if the red, I don't think that red's going to work as well. Let's see. It certainly makes it pop. So there's the red, and I pull that back out again. I'm using this great little one, and I'm pretty sure I got this one at Ollie's. I could use a yellow. What do we think about the yellow? Oh yeah, I think the yellow. Yep. Yep-a-doodle. And again, this is thin paper. Almost copy paper weight. Almost. So, okay, I know I'm going to do yellow for that one. Let me do this one really quickly. I'm thinking maybe a green. Green's up here. So I have this great green. Let's see if that one works. If it doesn't work, maybe that pink if I can find it, but see, I like that. And it's pulling out the greens in there, and then you have the nice wavy summer in the background. So I'm liking those, putting those aside. Gonna go ahead and do this. Well, let's look at the sizing first. This is, I believe, 3x3. Yep, 3x3. So we're going to cut a piece of that paper, 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. There we go. So this one's going to be 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. The one thing about this paper is it has this, I don't know if you can see that. Do you see those little white dots on there? I'm not really sure why they did that, because it does sort of mess up the top of your paper. You could use a lot more of it, except it's got that perforated look instead of actual perforation. Super weird. I think this one is also 3x3, so while I've got this out, yeah, this one is also 3x3. So I've got this out. I'm going to go ahead and cut those pieces. If only I could speak. I'm going to go ahead and cut those pieces. Gosh, that's just driving me crazy that I can't get it exactly straight. So I'm going to get it straight. I'm just going to make it work. Okay. This one should be correct. Yep. There's that one. Let's just make sure all of the sides, all right, those sides are even. That one's just the tiniest shaving. I have no idea why it bugs me so much. It does, but it, okay. Cute. Very, very cute. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take care of this. Ouch. Did you see? I get my thumb too close to the edge there. Don't do that, because it'll catch you. Has anyone ever done that? I would love to know. Please let me know. Have you all ever done that? Is it just me? Okay, so we got that one. I'm trying to decide if I want this one to just be straight. I think I'm going to leave this one straight. Just like that. I'm not going to trim it. Okay, so Yeah, still getting some of that dark. Wow. Now, I would say I'm okay using this on this paper because, again, it's not going to affect it. I would not do that if I had to use it, if I thought that this thinner paper, if the yellow paper was going to be like the top paper, I wouldn't use this. Not the way it's coming through right now, because I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust that it wouldn't bleed through a little bit. And look at this. Now I'm back to white, so I'm fine. But, and apparently there's a stupid gnat in here. Don't you just love summer? I do love summer. I don't love bugs that get into my house. They should not come into my house. That is super duper wrong for them to enter my home. Okay. So we have summer fun. And then we're going to do hello summer. And try to get that one centered. I think I'm going to trim the sides of this one just a little bit. I feel like it's a little bit wider than it should be. Because that, okay. So this one should do that. And this one should do that. Oh, now I'm going to be spending my time trying to even sides. No, that's perfect. Okay, good enough. But I always say, perfection is silly in my mind. I mean, it's not silly. We all want to try to get things as perfect as possible, but it's, you know, I just want to have fun too. I want to make stuff and have fun. And if I try to make it perfect, it's going to make me crazy. So I'm okay with a little imperfection. I actually really like that. Do y'all find it funny when I say I actually really like something that I do? I know I say that. And my pen just fell on the floor. I'm sure I'll find it later, one way or another. One way or another. Okay. So, in about a half an hour, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 of them done. That's not bad. That was with my putzing around a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to work on some of these. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 transportation ones. And then 1, put these over here. Those are about to fall. That's not good. I'm just going to put those down here. 1, 2, 3. I'm still trying to keep them in order. Who knows how successful I'll be. Wait. I think at this point it's going to be what it's going to be. I tried keeping them all together, and if I was doing a smaller batch, this would be much easier. It wouldn't be risky for me to kind of take them apart this way. But there's nothing for it. I mean, the folders have to come off and be, they need to be laminated themselves. So there might be a different way for me to do this, but I don't know what it is yet. Okay, so I'm going to lay out these pieces and start deciding what I want where. Put this over here. Okay. That's not bad. If I do Bon Voyage there, it's going to need something else. That's good there. That's too dark. That's good there. Okay. I like these. I like the setup. Now I just have to decide if I'm going to do a backing on any of them or if I'm just going to stick with what I've got. I'm going to move that one out of the way. That's the only one I'm not tremendously sure of. This one, okay, this one I like just the way it is. I'm not even going to round the corners. I like this one exactly how it is. I think it's just perfect. So this one's going to go straight up. The one thing about this is I definitely don't want to have the glue bleed out. That would probably be bad. Okay, perfect. I like that cover. Okay, so that just goes over here. I really like that too. I think that one looks nice. You could put, I mean, again, any of these you could put a background on them. Just really keep in mind, whatever background paper you use, you're just adding bulk. And when you add bulk to these, you don't want to end up with a situation where it's problematic for your laminating machine. You just really want to make sure that these are going to go through well, through your laminating machine well. That's cute. Okay, let's see what's next here. How about this one? Where to next? I think that one is super cute. And I think just like that, I'm trying to decide whether rounding the corners. I do think I'm going to round the corners on this one. I mean, each one just needs its own tweaking. Yeah, I like that. I like it. Now I could have used, I don't know if you saw the part where I was thinking about doing the Halloween papers and it worked out that they didn't work. They were just too thin and they just weren't going to work for me the way I needed them to work. And if I had to do this glue on those Halloween papers, that could have been problematic because they're too thin. I needed to find a thicker background. Perfect. And remember, once we laminate this down, it's also going to seal everything in place. So just think about that when you're doing these. Just be aware of that. I am liking this here, but maybe something like that. I don't know, guys. Kind of that. I like the pop of that red. like that. With these 3x3s, I'm just doing just a little bit of extra. Just a little bit of extra something, something. So maybe I'll do it like that. That's cute. Yep. I have to go find my my gun thing, and I need to find my other bottle of Nuvo. I thought it was in there, but it's not. That's the one thing, you know, when you're traveling with your stuff. Trying to make sure when you pack up you got everything. That's not always easy. But what was very nice was we did the long, I'm back to talk about the expo. We did the long weekend at the expo. And it was lovely, and you could leave if you do that and you get a table. Once you get your table, you can just really leave your stuff there. And that was fantastic. That was really, really nice being able to leave our stuff, go shopping, come back, leave our things overnight. I cannot imagine packing up each night. Because, you know, we scrapbookers, we travel with a lot of stuff. And although there were some people who were there for the day, we had wonderful, wonderful neighbors. Ran into someone who lives in my town who was actually at the very next table. Tina, if you're there, hi. So we talked a little bit about maybe getting together, which would be fun. It's really fun sometimes to have somebody else to scrapbook with. So that was super cool. So, like I said, everybody was just incredibly nice. Just met the nicest people. So fun. Okay, now my question, I'm going to put the pen back in this one. I'm going to put a pen in it, just like this, for a minute while I decide on this one. To me, I really like this one. It looks kind of like, I'm thinking about maybe black. Kind of looks like a TV screen-ish to me. How would that look? I kind of like it. Is there something else that we like better? What do you think, guys? Maybe the green? No. Dark blue? No. Light blue. I think I'm going to go with the black. I think the black makes it pop enough, and I'm sticking with this nice thin paper that's really not adding much in the way of any bulk. This should be another 3x2. Yeah. Let me get this out. Okay, so we're going to do the 2 1/4. I'm actually going to go just slightly over 2 1/4 because this paper is kind of off when you do this. All right. And since the reason I flip it over is because I know that that's going to be the side that's considered flat, because that's the side I use. Now, if I use the other edge, it may not be the same flat. There you go. That's where we are. Okay, so now they're both flat. perfect. Did I do it by 3 or 3 1/4? Oh, thank goodness. For a minute, I thought I had botched it. Okay. I'm liking the little Bon Voyage look to it. And again, one thing that I keep in mind is that when you laminate, it really adds, I don't know how to put it, a dimension, a level to it. This is really interesting because every time I recap it, it must be pushing some darker glue down and into it. It's interesting. And now this one. Cute. I'll put this back in. This is why I want my other Nuvo back, because I don't have to do that every 5 seconds. Okay, so this one, I definitely think I want something else behind it. I'm not sure what. It's not going to be black. It's a 3 by 3, so these all have, I don't think I have that color in here though. I almost think it needs a maroon. There's a lot of maroon in these. Maroon, there's a different green. Yeah, that's just not gonna go. Let's see if I've got. By the way, this is you know the paper that I talk about all the time that I love so much, but it's thick. This is thick paper. And so this one's a little bit more on the risky side. But this is the maroon. It's the right maroon. It's very thick paper. It is going to make this one a little bit thicker. And I'm going to have to run it through my machine several times. Okay, so this is 3 by 3. I'm going to do a little trim here on this one, because this one, to me, yeah, that had like a little bit of something showing through. And that's pretty good. I'm going to do a wee trim right there. Let's see, did I get it? Okay, that's better. Y'all are like, I don't know what you did, because it doesn't look like you did anything. Okay, so this has got to be 3 1/4. Yeah, this one's true. So thick. By 3 1/4. It's not true. No, that side is. So now I'm going to decide. Yeah, I'm not going to corner it. So, I think it's so weird. Every time I do that, it comes out so dark, and then the next one will be lighter. To be fair, that pen had been in there for a while. It's kind of getting its revenge. There we go. Okay, now right about there. Okay, we're getting somewhere. The last ones are these pretty ones, so I'm going to cap it again while I make some decisions. These are going to be, I think, a little bit different. Okay, so I have 5 of these. And let's see. I put my folders. These are so pretty. Folders, and wait, more folders. Okay, so with this last one, I don't have any toppers to go on them, and I could think about toppers, but my mind here was moving more towards maybe doing something with flowers. So to that end, I have to get that out. There it is. Now this will leave, what I'm thinking about here, guys, is going to leave a thicker piece behind. I'm going to move these for just a minute. And if you've seen me do this, this has all of my ephemera in it. So this is where I'm thinking. I'm thinking about getting out some ephemera and putting a few pieces of ephemera on here, as opposed to some of the other pieces. And I'm kind of liking this idea, but I need to figure out what it is I want to put on here. So just so you know, this might be the place where you might want to fast forward if you don't want to hang out with me while I make some choices. There's a lot for me to look at here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to raise this up a little bit. And, oh, that's about as big as it gets. And see if I see anything that really makes me go, yeah, I really want that on there. I've got some nice flowers. I've got to keep in mind this cover. It's a little bit orangey. So, and this is just a thought. I might completely turn around and say, nah, I don't like how it's not going over that one. Kind of like this one. I'm going to take a quick run through all of these and see if something kind of jumps out at me. I like that, actually. Let's look at that one on there. Let's see what that one does, if I can get one out. There are 2 of these here, so. They're not horribly thick. On there, or maybe, no, it doesn't work. I don't like those daisies with it. Let's do that. This might work. Golly, getting this thing open. What do we think of that? I don't know. I feel like that's a possibility. Maybe something like that. Blend in there. I could trim this a little bit down here. All right, so I like that, and I think I like that. I'm not going to do the same thing for anything, so I do want to mix these up a little bit. That one. I say that, and then I see the perfect piece. All right, I like that for one of them. Huh. Okay, the bird could definitely work. I've got to be careful not to mix too many things. Again, the problem here is I cannot make it too thick. I can't make the top seriously thick because that's just going to be a problem with the laminating. I would love to do more layering with it, but I do have some concerns. Oh, wouldn't that be cute on one of those train ones? I got to pull that. That's not going to work on that one. No. It's adorable, but it's not going to work. Okay. Look at this. Ooh, I like it on that one. All right, I'm going to keep looking for a minute because I don't want to just say, oh, done. Although probably I should just say, oh, done. Got it. Nailed it. Don't need to do anything else. Except you do need to make sure that that is sealed or stuff is going to start falling out. Just some really cute opportunities here. There's the Art de Triomphe. I think that's what that one is. Let's see how that would do. I actually like that a lot. That's going to be too long. Some of these would probably be perfect. Oh, I love this. There's over here, there's a little one. You can't see it. Explore the world would probably be perfect right in there, wouldn't it? As a pocket, but I think as a pocket that would be difficult to cut out once I get the laminating done. So got this bloom where you're planted. I'm going to pull these out. Sometimes it's what you'd have to do. Oh my golly, if you can get them out. With this one. If you can make the world a little better, then you've accomplished a great deal. That I love. How about this bloom? Ooh. Okay. So I'm really liking those a lot. This is why I look through. I just want to see, if there's something else. Something like this. Always remember you are unique. Adventure is calling and I will go. I actually think I have enough now. I think there's probably more that I could find, but I have some really cute pieces in here. Okay, so that worked really well. I put this back down here where it lives. And then let's make some decisions about these. So I have 5 of these, and I really, really like some of this bloom. Trying to decide. That one works. Okay. Which is funny because the first 5 or 6 I pulled out are not the ones I'm going to use, but I'm okay with that because I am seriously happy with the ones that I am using. These are so stinking cute. All right. I'm going to do these like this. Okay. Bloom where you're planted. Okay, let's get this one back out again. I'm going to go ahead and just, I think some of the dark is coming from the top. So I'll probably need to do some cleaning at the top here. I'm kind of going in and out of the sides. That lovely dark color. Yeah, that's fun. Wow, as long as it doesn't fall upside down and ruin my piece here. Let's see if we got it. Oh, I really like that. Okay. Adventure is calling, and of course I will go. What did I do with my burn? Oh, there it is. I love it. I'm really, really happy with these. I believe I got the, gotta be careful. I believe I got these pieces from Hobby Lobby. It's like a tiny little, right there. Golly, no. That one was almost too far over. And then we got that one. Here we go. share what makes your soul shine. These are so cool. Let me make sure I don't know if y'all can see this. There's a couple of these have like these little, I don't know how to put it. It's like a little teeny tiny, maybe leftover perforation. This one actually looks like it's got a red thing going on right there. Okay, there we go. This is the fun thing, you know, when you're doing this and really doing, you know, you get into your creative place. It's just so fun. I'm loving making these. And these last ones are my favorites. I might have to keep one or two of these. My word, there it is. Okay, I was thinking I dropped another pen. Okay, let me cap that thing. Wow. Okay, so I have these beautiful covers now, and a lot of them. So what I'm going to do next, is I'm going to take a little break, and when I come back, look at this giant stack. So that's just the covers, and then over here we have the folders. And what I am going to do is I'm going to turn these over, and I'm going to do a folder and a cover together. Hopefully I've folded them in the right direction and I have the right ones together. I think I do, but it doesn't matter. I can always change that later. I had originally thought, and this is so funny. I mean, this is how it goes, right, guys? I mean, you think you're going to go in one direction and you end up going in another direction because that's just where it takes you. But I had originally thought I was going to use this really cool book of cut-aparts. It's got just a few really neat things in it. It's got some flowers. I was thinking about using the flowers. But ultimately, I did not need to get into that one. So that's good. Okay, so when in a minute, for me, it'll be longer, but for you all, it'll be in like a minute. The laminator will be out and we'll start our laminating process. So we're back to do this part. So I'm going to be laminating all of my folders and my covers. Normally, I try to laminate the two pieces together, whether that'll work for me here or not. But I will be laminating two pieces at a time. If you are tempted to try to fit more onto your laminating sheets, don't be tempted. They need room. They need a little bit of room around them so that you have an edge when you cut. And I'll show you that when we cut. So I am using these Pen & Gear laminating sheets. I think this was like $10 for 150. And I will say I like these better than the Scott that I've been using. I have more of the Scott. I ordered more because I really wanted to compare them. And there's a little bit of difference. But that little bit of difference makes a difference. Just saying. Okay, so just if you are unfamiliar with using a laminator, this thing is pretty much all set up. So I'm going to pull my shelf down, so to speak, piece of paper on there. Just want to make sure it's good. I had it sitting, got some stuff on it. All right, there is, I'll show you this part. There's an on-off button right there. Super duper important. If you are not using it, leave it off. It's not worth it to leave it on saying, well, I'm going to come back to it in a little bit. These things get very hot. So when I laminate with my my very big laminator at school, because I do our laminating, I am very cautious to, as soon as I'm done using it, and it takes that big one takes half an hour to heat up. This one does not take very long to heat up. But with that one at school, as soon as I'm done using it, I turn it off and I unplug it because I don't want to risk having it still on. So this one's not as big a deal. But do make sure that you are turning it off, and then remember that it's got to cool down, so you don't want to put anything on top of it while it's cooling off when you turn it off. And then do unplug it when you're done, so you don't accidentally flip your switch. Okay, so I turned it on. I flipped my switch. I am using the 3mm. That's pretty much all I use. This one has settings. You can even put something through cold, and that's if you want to press something, because it does a really good job of pressing. Now, right now it's flashing because it's not warm. So it's telling me don't put anything through right now. It's not ready. I have it set for forward. You can do reverse. You can send it through and back and through. I don't usually do that. I just don't like to mess with it. And you have modes. Again, I'm not messing with all of that. You can, but it's not going to make a big difference. All right, so while that, I'm just going to move that forward a little bit. And then with my pouches, I'm doing this one at a time. Now, keeping in mind that I'm doing a lot of these, and look how fast that warmed up. I'm actually going to pull the tape caught back up again, didn't it? Isn't that fun? Okay, I'm just going to cut that tape off because I don't want to deal with it ever again. Okay. You all didn't see that. It wasn't letting me get into the pack. Okay, so I'm just going to pull out a few pouches. I doubt that's all that I'll need. And I'm honestly just going to put them to the side. But I do need, because I need so many today. Okay, your pouches open like that. They open from the top, not from the side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to grab my first cover. I'm sticking it inside. Let's see if I can zoom in on that one a little bit. I'm bringing it down a little bit just because if I don't, you'll be able to see it from the side. Because I can't get it. Try to move it a little further up so you can see it better. So maybe I can do that. Right. Well, so what I'm doing is I am really just, it doesn't matter whether it's even, honestly, guys, it doesn't have to be exactly even. As long as your, what you're laminating is fully in the folder. And I'm actually going to move it over a little bit just to give it a touch more room. Also, don't go all the way up to this edge. Don't push it all the way up to that edge. That top edge, I can actually see from here, does actually not have the adhesive melt to it. So I don't want it to go all the way to that edge. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick on my folder and fold it, okay? Leave it folded. Don't open it up to put it on because it's going to be really hard to create the adhesion for that. Okay, so my pieces are in. They're so nice and flat right now. They won't stay that way because as soon as you pick it up, they're going to move just slightly. So I'm just going to move this a wee bit out of the way and move the whole thing there. I'm going to pull that back up so you have a better view of the whole thing. Now, I do not have a tremendous amount of room here. I gotta redo this a little bit. So, on my table. So I'm just going to do this. Now, be careful putting it in. It will catch. If you go too far to one side or the other, it's going to bunch up on that side. And that's fixable because I don't have these all the way to the sides. Now notice mine catches and just starts to move through. I don't have to push any buttons to make it move through. It just goes. Mine's an HP Laminator 940. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to move it forward so I can grab it as it comes out. And wait for it to come all the way out. Don't try to pull it out. All right, so this one's out. It's looking pretty good, but because I like to be cautious, I like to be sure, this one actually did really well. So I'm sending it through again. Guaranteed now, right now I can see it's going to push up on this side. It's okay. It's not really going to hurt it. It's just really hard. I find it difficult. You all might be, you guys are probably going to be perfect with these. But I do find it difficult sometimes to get it exactly where I want it on that side. But that's why I always put it through with that original folded side. So that's your top where it was folded. I'll show you that again because I'm going to run through a couple of these, and then I'm going to go off on my own for a little bit and finish these up. So my next thing that I do, I like to go ahead and cut them and send them through one more time on their side. I don't know if you can see that right away. I have this weird look right here. I don't know if you can see that. And that has to do with the way this is raised. So I'm going to send it through this way. At this point, everything's fully sealed. And I don't have to wait for one to go all the way through. I do have to wait for it to be mostly through. All right, that's pretty good. This one is very well sealed. You can see a little bit on the edges, but that's still sealed. It's just where it's coming around. And I'm not going to cut these yet. I'm going to go back and cut them. Remember, I'm trying to do sections at a time. All right, much better. I don't know if you could see it, but I had kind of a whitish streak right through here. And that was because when I was sending it through, this was raising it ever so much and creating that. Now, sending it through this way created a really nice seal on there. So, all right, now that's one down. So again, I'm going to do this, grab my laminating sheet and open it up. You'll know the top, if you can see this, the top of this one has like a little, how to make that pop so you can really see it. There we go. You might be able to see that top is clear while the rest of this really isn't. That's the one that has to go through first. So when you're putting these in, that's just something to remember. That goes in first. It gets faster as you start to do these. Remember, again, see how I'm making sure that there's space between these, because I'm going to need to cut and trim and make sure all of that's good to go. So I do want to make sure that there is some space. And then as you're picking it up, it's just so easy to accidentally, catch it funny. There we go. This one's in. I'm gonna pull it back. The sides of these are not hot. This top does get somewhat hot, but be very cautious. Mine just doesn't get overly hot, but it does have a warning on there about the heat. So, please keep that in mind. Okay, so I sent it through that way. It's all sealed. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to send it through this way. This is my process. You could stop after sending it through the first time. That is totally up to you all. But this is my process. And I didn't do it right the last time. So it should be front, back, and then then I cut them and I send them through independently so one can't accidentally affect the other. But this is already looking pretty good. What you're looking for are bubbles. Bubbles are not your friend. I don't know if you can see. I need something else here we go. Okay. I don't know if you can see, but there's a bubble. There, that's better. Right there. I don't care about that bubble as long as it's not in here or here, or here. That bubble does not bother me at all. Okay. But if it was closer, if it was like right close to this, then I might want to send this through another time or two to make sure that the bubble wasn't going to affect. Now again, I don't know if you can see that. There's my windows open. But again, I have like almost like a whitish streak right through here. So when I send it through, I should be getting rid of that. You do want to wait to put this one through until that one is mostly through, because you don't have a lot. You don't want them to stick together, and they will. If you send them through too quickly, you'll end up with one on top of the other, and that's impossible to take apart. Then you just throw them away and you start over. So you can wait till one's completely through. I do kind of a count with mine, but I'm really familiar with my timing. So there we go. Pretty. And see how that's really standing out now when we have that as a cover. I'm so happy with those. All right, let's do a few more. I'll stop my jibber jabbering. If that's even possible. It may not be possible for me to stop my jibber jabbering. Besides that, I like these conversations. So I'm home alone today. My wonderful little Brit is off at an FFA conference. He has a competition today that he was very nervous about. This is the state conference, and he is competing in the Quiz Bowl. So that was making him really nervous before he left. And it's making me nervous to have him so far away. But he's not that far away. He's in Raleigh today, and that's only okay. I'm gonna see what happened here. It's sort of pushing up on that side. I got it too close. It should not affect my final project, because usually when that happens, it happens on the back end of it, and that's when I have the smaller piece going through. You do need, if you can do it, and I should have tried to clear that stuff up in front. If you can do it, it's better to have like lots of room for it to go just slide right through. All right, so I'm turning it and I'm going to send it in again. Hopefully this time I won't. Oh, see, that's the other thing. This one caught. I wasn't ready to send it through, and it caught, and it started pulling it through, and you can't stop it. So I put it in, and it kind of caught before I straightened it. It's not terrible. It's fine. And remember, I'm going to put it through one more time. But if that happens, don't try to pull it back out again. Just let it go through. And then you can, you can put it through more times if something bubbles up or you need a self-correction. But don't try to yank it back through, because that will go badly. And you can see here, I'm not trying to trim these to where I want them to be in the end. I'm just trying to separate the two pieces. And remember, with these, because I've got this raised part, I'm always going to send this one through this way first. And that's going to hopefully seal anything that might not have sealed properly going through, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if this makes any sense. If this helps at all. So it's funny. I'm no longer the only laminator. Actually, one of my friends now is able to do the laminating too, because she and I were working on. It's a pain in the neck for the big machines, the big laminators. When you have to put a new roll, these get the big machines, of course, get a roll of this stuff, and or actually it gets 2 rolls, and it's a pain in the neck, and you really need 2 people to do it. So a good friend volunteered to help do that, and then she was able to start doing the laminating and things, because you really need that second person. So, oh my goodness. All right. Well, I did another one off screen for a minute. My wonderful husband called because we had to have the truck inspected today. So he was just calling to tell me the truck was ready. He's so funny. All right. So a couple more tips before I stop and just finish these up. This one, so here's one. This paper is a little bit thinner than the last paper, so I'll be interested to see. It's not super thin, but it's not as thick as the last couple of sheets of paper that I did. So we'll see. I'm sure it'll go through beautifully, honestly, because thinner paper does, but I'm interested to see how what happens with this one. Because sometimes you end up with a little bit of a pull through. You also missed, I really got an edge coming up on that last one. Move up, move up, move up, move up, move up. Okay. Another important thing about putting through your laminating, do try to make sure that it goes in smooth. You don't want crinkles because the crinkles become permanent. If you get a crinkle on top of here, you're just not going to get that out. So do try to put it in smoothly. I was a little bit worried that the folder was going to get a crinkle on it. It looks like it's okay. Oh, that went through really beautifully. That just slightly thinner paper. So remember, I'm putting it through. I can do this now because this edge is sealed. You can't put an unsealed edge in first because it can open up in your machine, and that could be the end of your machine. So you never want to put an unopened edge in first. That's another little tip. So it is slow. You can, so this mode is what tells me between forward and reverse. I can speed it up a little bit. I choose not to. I don't really like them going too fast. It's much easier to make mistakes if it's going quickly. I mean, unless you get really, really used to it. Some people are, just faster than me. I can accept that some people are just a lot faster than me, and that's okay. But I do, and we all have our way of doing things. I mean, I'm just telling you the way I do things and some tips that I've found, in particular with using my HP, which I really like. I'm very happy with it. This one actually on the side here says letter, 4x6 and card, but there's, you never have to line stuff up like that. It can literally just go straight through the middle. So I don't know why it has those indications, but it does. So let me grab my next one. There were so many of these to do. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there are any other tips that I could share with you. That one where it almost got crinkled on the top with the film. That was an important one. I'm pretty sure these two don't go together, but that's fine. I can figure that out later. So you just have to figure out what works for you when you're putting this through. I would love it if this was extended and I could set it down and then shoot it through. That's a really short drawer or shelf, so to speak. And also you might think, well, why do I need to glue these down? If I'm going to send it through the laminator, it's going to seal everything in place. And the reason you do that is because the laminator is not perfect. And it is very helpful to have these glued, because when you do your slit along the top, that if this is open, then your slit could, as you put things into it, the slit could start going further and opening up that side. So you don't want that to happen. That's another good reason to make sure that you've glued down any pockets that you're going to to put through your laminator. I'm actually just going to pull it forward a little bit to make it a little easier for me. So I just try to go nice and easy, because the minute it catches, it catches. This one is always a bit of a pain right here. Really, like I said, the minute it catches, it catches. Your ability to change that is gone. And you don't want, and again, you don't want to. You certainly don't want to rip a piece off while it's in the laminator. All right, can you see how this curled up here? So, pulling something off of it while it's in the laminator, you're just not going to get that out. We had something like that happen on our big laminators, and we had to call a professional in to fix it, and it was not cheap. I mean, he was great while he was there and servicing it. He gave me a lot of additional tips, which was fantastic, but it was not cheap to have it fixed. And with something like this, I mean, I think this one was only $30. I would just, if this broke, I would just buy a new one. I wouldn't try to fix it. I just wouldn't. But I'm not as handy. Now, my husband, my youngest, they are both very mechanically gifted. Honestly, most of the kids are much more mechanically gifted than I am, so they may try to fix things like that. But you're not going to see me doing that. I should really like the way this one turned out, because when it's folded over, you're going to get that. It's very summery. It reminds me of when it's super hot and you look at the pavement and you see the waviness coming off the pavement. Okay, so I do wait for that one to be almost all the way out. All right, so at this point, I'm going to, I think I've shown you all a lot of what's going on here. Be absolutely positive that you have either 3mm or 5mm laminating when you put this through, because you definitely want to have it go through under the right thickness of what you're using. And again, if you remember what I said, you don't want to, it looks, when I put these in, it looks like maybe I could put something small on the sides. I can't. I need this space around them. I need this to be really fully sealed all the way around it. Just because if I cut too close and I unseal it, it's going to pull apart. It'll open up again. So if you're not familiar with laminators, if that's not, I'm actually going to put that one through one more time. I just saw. But if that's not like really flat, oh my word, I don't know what they're barking at today. Did you all hear that? At least I didn't jump through the roof. That would be the little one, Cupcake. That would be our little one, Cupcake, deciding that she needs to let the world know that she's here. So I'll show you where I was, what made me do that. Right along this edge, it looked to me like it was a little bit further out than I wanted it to be. And you really want these to be close in, as close as they can be, because that's your seal. And I have certainly had things come apart on me if I cut too close to where it was supposed to be sealed. And even if you just nick the edge of where it's supposed to be sealed, sometimes you can get away with that. But it's going to be risky, because it certainly can open at some point on you, and then once it breaks open, it's pulling apart. Now, I will also say, if it breaks open and it pulls apart, sometimes you can fix that. Sometimes you can just run it back through the laminator, as long as you're careful and you don't rip what's in it, the paper that's inside. So just, some things to keep in mind when you're doing this laminating. Okay, that. Also, make sure it's clean. Any teeny tiny, a piece of hair. The funniest thing is, like, the teeniest, tiniest, like, thinnest little piece of hair gets in there, and it's going to be like, boom. It's going to be like Princess and the Pea. type thing where you can suddenly it's so obvious and annoying. So you do want to be careful that surfaces and things are clean. That's too close. And you notice I wanted to make sure that this was not too close to the file, to the cover in front of it, because if they push too close, I won't be able to cut between them. And if I can't cut, if I can't properly cut between them, it's just going to be a problem. I would have to probably use more laminating and try to double laminate, which is something you can do. You can double laminate carefully. Yeah, that went through fine. So if you run into that and you have something too close and you have to cut the pieces apart because they're like right next to each other, you can pull them apart, put them both back into a full laminating pocket, and then run that pocket through again. You may need to go up to the 5 mil, but run the pocket through again, starting with the 3 mil, and it should work okay. I have also had that happen when I'm laminating teachers' materials. Stuff happens, and you learn how to get through it all. Oh, I love this one too. I really like the way that one came out. Okay. By the way, this is warm. When it comes out to my touch, I feel like it's warm. You know you better. If it feels if it comes out, it's going to be hotter. It's coming out of this hot machine. So just know that to me it feels warm. To you it might feel hot. So don't touch it if it feels, I just want to make sure everybody's safe and nobody, I don't think you could get burned on this one. I don't know about other machines. I'm using this one. I don't know if it comes out a lot hotter on a different machine. So please keep that in mind. Because I don't want anyone getting burned or even getting uncomfortably, an uncomfortable heat from this. This is kind of good, running enough of these through so I can share any tips and tricks that I have when I'm laminating, because I laminate a lot. So this one looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't know if you can see the bubbles. It has 2 bubbles, one here and one here, but they're far enough away from my edges. I know they're not going to affect my final cut. So I do think that's everything. If I think of something else, I'll come back on and I will share that information. I'm going to hop on here. I'm almost done, actually. I've done quite a few of these now because it did occur to me that I might have a couple of other things to add in about the laminating. Come on. That's okay. There we go. Okay. This one couldn't go all the way through. It got caught because I had something in front of it and I didn't move it fast enough. And look what happened. It's still going to be okay. It's going to be okay because of, I can cut around it. So the other thing with my laminator is it's getting overheated. I have done so many of these in one go. And so in the future, I think that I will probably, if I want to mass make, I'm just going to do them 5 at a time. So I'll create all 5 and I'll run them and complete them 5 at a time. The laminator running through 19 of these because it's not just running 19, because I run them through 4 times really. So 19 times 4, we're really trying to run it through almost 80 times on a tiny machine. It's definitely a lot hotter now than it was. Having said that, middle of the winter, I'm probably going to be really grateful for that. But, so I'm going to let it cool off for a minute. So I did want to make sure I kind of shared that was a possible concern with your laminating. If it got caught up like that, I mean, at least you got to see what happened. And I ended up having to pull it out, and that's not good for the laminator. It pulls on the gears. So that's not great for it. And I didn't finish going through with the second one, but I'm going to cut that off so it sits in my pile better. But this is still fine. So that was good because it didn't get caught. Luckily, that piece was far enough back. If it had been this piece, I probably would have had a problem. But what I will say to you is, if it had been this piece and this had happened, I would have sent it back through the machine. I would have, let's say if it was attached over here, this weird piece that got caught up here, I would have sent it through this way and tried to get that to flatten itself back out again, which hopefully it would. So those are, I think, some of the last tips. Again, being cautious about not overheating your machine, and about how many you send through. I started setting these up so as soon as this piece was most of the way through, the next one was coming in. So I was also starting to move a little bit quicker. But again, you can only do what the machine will allow you to do. Also, I had one go in almost completely crooked, or at least one of these pieces. This piece was skewed. Luckily, didn't touch this one, didn't get close enough, so that was still okay. All right, so I'm going to finish these last couple. I only have 2 left to do. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to cut some of these down. And then I'm probably going to sit somewhere and cut them down in front of the TV for a bit, because that's going to take a while. But I want to show you kind of my quick tips for cutting these and getting them done quickly. And then it'll be eyelets. And I changed the size of the eyelet that I'm using, and I'm really happy with that. And then it will be, let's see, it's going to be eyelets, and then it's going to be, it's going to be the wrap, the eyelets, and the stringing, and we're done. Okay, so laminating is done. Very exciting. And I'm going to move on. I'm going to get the scissors out and start doing a little bit. Let me move this back a little bit. I have the laminator over here cooling off because it really needs a little cool off time. So I'm going to go ahead and start working with my wonderful folders and things. Folders and covers. I'm going to line this up. What I'm doing is, because I have this guard, I'm lining it up. So if you have something like this, you can. And it's going to give me a bit of a lip. And I'm going to use that lip all the way around. So I'm basically just measuring it against my guide, so I can get at least some steady what I want is to try to get just an even amount around the edges, and this does a pretty good job of that for me. So once I cut my edges off, and I know it's hard to see, I think you can kind of see in the reflection right there where the edge is, and that's pretty much the same all the way around. Then I'm going to go through, and I'm just going to use a pair of scissors, and I'm going to get that corner. Now you can also just cut these if you want to. I just have so many that I need to do. Might want to turn and use my, let's see if I like these better. These are bad. Okay, so, oh, I didn't give out this one. Just when you think you're done. Okay, and so this one is about ready. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut all of these. I'll do 1 or 2 more right here with you guys. And then I'm going to go through and do some folding. But the first thing I really just needed to do was to get these moving. To get these, let me use that one. cut so that I can do the next part, which is the corners. Now, I will say, laminate does not work the same as paper. So I've tried my hole punch in the past, and let me see. Let me show you on this one. It doesn't cut through. Do you see that? So I just tried to do, because I'm not going to use that corner. You know, I'm trying to cut it, but all I'm really doing is bending that plastic. So that's why I don't use, I mean, if somebody else has a better way to do it. Now I also have, where did I put that? Oh, it must still be in the box. So I also have the other one, the bigger, not the, you know, the not this one, but the one like that, the corners. Anyway, that also, it does the same thing as the punch. It just doesn't get the corner the way I want it, which is why I hand cut my corners. And, you know, that works for me. I think this one actually was there. So I just do my best on the corners. I try to start back just a wee bit, because if I try to start right where the corner is, I'm not going to get it properly. I'm going to end up with something weird. Like that one ended up a little bit weird. It's really hard to see, guys. That's better. You can kind of see that one build. There we go. Okay, so corner's done. That's it. So I'm about to sit down and do all of these. So what I'm going to do first actually is I'm going to trim all of these, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to corner everything, which will take a wee bit of time. And once I'm done doing corners and sides, then I'm going to go back through and I'm going to refold everything, because it actually does need that refolding bit. So then I'm going to go through and refold. And once I'm done refolding, you know, we'll be on our home stretch-ish. These are, whether you're doing them like a mass make, like I'm doing, or even if you're just doing, you know, one for yourself, there are a number of steps with these. So, you know, it's a little bit of a commitment of time just to make sure you get everything done. And I'm excited to show you the new eyelets that I'm using, because I think that they are just making such a wonderful difference with the way the side looks. And I'm going to show you a comparison. I liked the old ones, the 3/16, but I'm really liking these 1/8 much better. So, all right. So I'm going to come back, and when I come back, we'll go ahead and we'll be, I'll have everything trimmed, and we'll be folding and doing our final steps. All right, you can see we kind of switched places here. What I'm doing next is I finished cutting the edges as I said I would. And the next thing I'm doing is I'm doing my folding, and I am cutting open my pockets, and I'm actually setting them up like this, and I'm reattaching the folders inside the covers. So I've done a few, gotten started with the, I don't want to lose that. That thing's coming up. Don't do that. Okay, so this is the quick and easy what I'm doing here. So I do go, just to make sure that nothing shifts, I push from the inside. This is just the way I do it. It's probably fine if you don't do it that way, but that's the way I do it. I push from the inside. I kind of push this up a little bit, that middle one. Look how cute that is. All right, I put that one here. Then I grab my folder. And with the folder, I'm going to take this sharp edge. Guys, I am barely touching. Truly barely touching. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. You don't want to apply pressure. I keep trying to do this with you guys. And this has been over the course of a couple of different hours. And it's like every time I restart the video, my husband calls. It's like he knows. That's okay. I like hearing from him. We're just doing normal stuff. Getting the truck inspected so that we could get our renewal stuff in, our new tags in. So cute. Okay. Oh, there. That's where that goes. All right. So I ended up doing this one while I was away from you all for a minute. For half a minute. What happened to all my paper clips? I might have to grab some more paper clips. Okay. So again, this is really all I'm doing. I wanted to, I think, I don't even know where I was in the process when the phone rang, and it does turn my video off. So remember, you're going really lightly. I'm really not putting pressure here, because if I put some pressure down, I'm going to cut through. I'm going to cut through to the front, and I do not want to do that. Then I use my letter opener, which works really, really well, just kind of opening that up. And then it is that wonderfully simple. What I'm doing too is I'm just paper clipping them back together again, so I don't. So I'm able to keep them together. So let's see. Shall we do one more together before I head off? So the laminating ended up taking probably all in all about an hour to laminate all of these. Remember, that was kind of cutting some in between. And so the laminating did take about an hour. Cutting took between like the slicing and then cutting the corners, maybe half an hour. That's just hasn't been taking very long. This is going very, very quickly. This one's going super quick. So that's nice. This one if you can tell, I am doing, a couple of steps instead of just one. I'm kind of trying to get the set done. And for each set, we're going to be so close to finishing. Oh my golly. That is one thing about doing such a volume. You can get, I like to do a variety of things. And when I'm doing this many at once, I don't know. Now I'm just ready to be done with it. I feel like it's what I've been doing in forever. It kind of is. I cannot wait to show you guys my Stampin' Scrapbook the make and takes. I'm going to do a whole video on just make and takes for y'all. How can I be out of paper clips? What did I do with them? I betcha. All right, I'll just grab more. There definitely were enough paper clips for all of these, but they ran away. They were like, I'm running away. Okay, so I'm actually pretty close. I should do it that way. Sometimes I start to move fast and I forget the way that works the best for me. I don't forget, I'm moving. So, also when you line this up, just really try to get it, like you can feel the edge of that paper. Yep. That about went flying. Look at that. I love this popsicle paper. It's so cute. All right, let me go ahead and finish these up, and then we'll come back and we'll start working on some eyelets. I switched again. I keep moving around on you guys. Okay, I was very excited. This is a sort of a sneak peek at the Stampin' Scrapbook Expo. They had the eyelet outlet. Now, and I got a bunch of eyelets from them because I can't find them anywhere else, especially the pretty colored ones, and these are beautiful. So, so I got these, this size. This is 3/16 of an inch. It's the size that I have been using on my travel journals. This size in here is 1/8 of an inch. And I want to show you the difference because I did have to finish up a couple of journals. I'd been waiting. I had a few that only needed eyelets and stringing. And I got, I think, every color I could get from what they had at the expo. But they have other colors at the online. I'm leaning over. Okay. And they are going out of business. Apparently their online store will only be open until December. So if you want eyelets, I would rush out and get them. I would order them right away. As a matter of fact, I am ordering a bunch. So just to let you know, I'm going to move these out of the way. This is the 3/16 of an inch eyelet. And I may end up using a few of these for this thicker, if I have a thicker cord. This one works with the other one, or it will. And these are pretty, but they are right on top of each other. And to show you the difference, these teeny tiny ones are the 1/8 of an inch. And you can see that I can actually... I don't risk going over the top or even having them. Some of these end up like literally touching or sometimes tiny bit overlapping. That's not going to happen with these smaller ones. So I'm really interested. Which ones do you all prefer? I mean, this one, it's much more obvious. You can see them better. They become more of a feature. With these tiny ones, I mean, they're definitely a little bit harder to see. They're not necessarily harder to use. So I am going to use these, mostly I'm going to be using the small ones for these journals unless I need a color that's one of the bigger ones. Just saying. So anyway, I wanted to show you the difference. And then it makes it easier for you all to decide which ones you like. I am going to try, now have a different rivet setter, and I should be able to put a rivet or an eyelet right here this time, and I really like to do that. The other way is fine. It'll hold just fine. It's not going to be a problem. However, I would very much like to make it even stronger and prettier, that kind of thing. So I've got to find what I did with that set. Good golly, Miss Molly. Okay, so I'm actually going to start, I'm going to stop for just a minute, pause for a minute, and I'm going to find the innards for all of these, and I'm going to put them kind of together because once I do start doing the eyelets, I'm probably just going to do these one by one. So I'm going to finish each one. Now you could just do the punches, go back and do the eyelets, go back and do the stringing and add the books in. That's more of the assembly line, but I really don't want to do that with these. So anyway, let's see. Okay, so in front of me I have a ginormous stack of, and one fell over, of the, let's see what it is. Look at that. Put these back in order, sorry. Okay, so I have this ginormous stack of pieces that are almost together. So each time I pull one down, it has the cover is in there. All of the notebooks are ready to go. The folder is ready to go. So next thing has to be, they're very slip. They're very slick. Yeah, slip. So I'm going to put those aside and I'm going to start working on these. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and try to find approximately the middle of each one of these. This is 5 inches, so the middle should be 2.5. Right about there. 2.5, 2.5. And then this is my middle line that I made. So right through there goes. By the way, this is the first one I'm trying this on, so wish me luck. And I'm going to make it just a wee bit bigger. This guy helps me make it bigger. Now, these are supposed to be 3/16 of an inch. I will say, I really don't think they are. They are so much bigger. Here, let's compare the two. Maybe. Okay, so I ordered these from Amazon, and these absolutely look considerably bigger. That certainly looks a lot bigger. Here, I'll zoom in so you can really see. This one certainly looks quite a bit bigger than that one. It really does, doesn't it? Wow, that is quite a difference. Okay, put that one back. So I'll find a use for these, but it's not going to be this. And even when I got it, the box was broken, so it makes me think that it was a pre-loved item. Not that it was not how it was put forward to me, but hey. Okay, so remember that we put something through here. So we're going to try to make this work. Now, what color? I need the minis. What color eyelets am I going to use for this one? I might just use the gold. Or maybe just the silver. I'm looking at some of the other eyelets that I have available. I do have this one. I like that one. Do I have a comparable one in here? In my minis? Because I have to have enough. Now I could use these. I might just end up using the, yeah, I'm sorry guys. I know that this is, oh, good gracious. I know that a lot of this is my processing through what I'm thinking with these. So I think I'm going to use the big ones on this one just because I don't have the right colors to use it on this one. I don't have this kind of bronzy or irony looking one. I'm looking at all my different colors here. But this should look the same as one of those other ones I showed you. And I know I have enough here. All right, so let's see if I can do this right. This goes in here. Okay. So this has to go in here. Let's do that again. Let's go that way. So this has to fit in here. There, gotcha. So I do this. Nope, that popped it right back out again. Shoot, I gotta figure this out. All right, then I do this one. All right, 1 minute. Okay, so I stopped for a few minutes and I did a little bit of practicing on these sets, going ahead and putting an eyelet in, and I'm pretty happy with the way they're turning out. So I did these, some with the smaller eyelets. All of these are the bigger ones, the 3/16, and then these are 3/16. And so did those. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with the way these are turning out. So I'm going to do maybe 2 or 3 with you guys. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish all of these up, which is very exciting. Very, very exciting. Okay. So here's what I do. The first thing I do is that's this way. Yep. I line this up. I know that this needs to be from this line, the paper, not the laminate. I'm going to come in by 2.5 inches. Right about there. Now, this would be a lot easier if I just had one of the big crocodiles. I don't right now. I've been looking at them. They're pretty expensive. I may still get one at some point in time. I mean, who am I kidding? I'm sure I will. So I'm just putting that through because that is just showing me where it needs to be. So now I've got a hole there, 2.5 inches. So trying to make it, pretty even from the 2 sides. Get that out of the way. The next thing I'm going to do is this is the set that I got from Amazon. And so I'm going to grab this guy. And I'm going to grab, I don't know where to put my hammer at this point in time, but I'll figure it out. So this is actually a hole punch, believe it or not. It's actually still got a hole in there. So this hole punch, you've got a little side piece here. I'm going to try to put that about as centered onto that hole that I've already done. That's pretty good. All right. Make sure I need to go all the way through, and it didn't. So
I may have just lost the truck key.
You lost the truck key?
May have done, yes.
How?
It may have fallen off here. I've got to go back to where I was last.
Okay. That's frightening. Okay, while my husband goes to see if he can find the truck key. All right, so now I have a perfectly usable hole. So next I have to decide what color I'm going to use, and particularly what color of the rivets or the eyelets am I going to use. And I'm going to go in here. This is where I keep all of my stretchy materials. And see, I'm thinking red actually. And I have this red, which is a little bit on the thick side. So I would have to use, so with this one, which is also 3mm, I think that's right. With this one, I would have to use the 3/16 of an inch. But if I use this one, I can use the smaller. I'm going to use that one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use that one to wrap the inside. So I can use the red. Do I have red? Do I even have red? I should probably make sure I have what I can use. I think I'm actually going to use these brown ones because they match that. So I'm going to use the brown there, but I'm still going to use the red, this red. And that just kind of helps me figure out which rivet I'm going to use. I'm not using these rivets. They are too big. They are just really big. So when I tie on the inside, it's just not working. It is just not working. So now I'm going to pick, I actually have choices. I could do one like this. You can see that's got a wide back to it. And I have this, golly, is that pink or red? That almost looks pink. I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use brown here. So the closest thing I have is probably one of these. Okay. That's more of a copper, but it's the closest thing I have to the brown. So next thing I do is I put this here, that there, that like that. So this pokey thing is coming up from the inside. I am going to grab, one of the good things about these is I am going to grab a washer or a grommet, not a washer, a grommet. Put it right there. Okay. Next, you grab this piece and then you throw it around a little bit because that's helpful. Okay. All right, so I've got these lined up. I'm going to show you again. Oh, I had two on there. So my my eyelet is on here. I'm using that. This goes on there. And then only one of the grommets goes on. The grommet has, pull that back off again. The grommet has a curved in edge and it has this kind of curved out edge. The curved out edge is what goes on top. Okay, now this has a hole in it and I'm just sticking it right there. I'm going to raise this up a little bit so I can actually use the hammer. I actually have a smaller hammer, which I need to get out, and I want this to be sitting on there fairly evenly. Just get ready. You might want to mute. That looks good. Okay. Now, okay, this should come off. This is the first time I've had this happen. Always, guys, I say it all the time, don't I? It's always going to happen. Wow, okay, it's really stuck. Got it. It's always going to happen when I'm filming. Oh, that gave it a couple little crinkles on the inside. All right, but it's okay. And we have this piece settled on that side. All right, so that's the first part of this. That is hilarious. Everything else has gone so smoothly. And then this one was a little bit more stubborn But again, if you have the big crocodile, you should not have a problem. Now, I am going to be using, I'm going to pull these out because I'm going to use some of these little brown ones. I have to get them out. That's one way to do it. They're almost orange. So I like to put them kind of like that so I know for sure that I've got the right ones. Otherwise, sometimes they're just so hard to tell. Sometimes the colors are so similar. And I need 6 of them. So finding 6, gracious. This is generally why I like to separate, that's the wrong color, why I like to separate these. So I'll separate them into my smaller thing later. I have another one I can put these into. Yeah, that's the right color. And one more. I just have to find one more. Is that the right color? Yay! Okay. So I'm just screwing it back on because... So with this one, I am using, you have 2 sides here. Can you see that? This one has a thicker, this is for the 3/16 and this is for the 1/8. So I'm going to center this 1/8 right in the middle of that line, or as close to the middle of that line as I can get. And then I'm going to go right between the 2 sides. And then I'm going to go right between the 2 sides. And that one doesn't seem to have... All right, let's try this one again because this one looks like it's... not coming all the way through, but it'll be okay. Okay, so same thing with the top. I want to center this as best I can. I'm looking right through that little hole to do my best with it. And this one. Okay, so once I have those, I'm going to go through the top. I've already set this up. Did I? Let me make sure this is right. So you use this piece for the bigger one. If I was going to do the 3/16, I would have this on A1. And I think this is actually on 1 right now. Yep. So they have little tiny numbers. I wish that they had, the numbers don't need to be black on black. It actually makes it really hard. So that's 1, 2. I need this on 3. So wait, is that 3? No, 3 is still there. So I need this one on 3. And I need this one on the 2 here. Okay. That's how you move those around. So now it's just as simple as really squeezing. And there we go. So then you just make sure, so you push that in, make sure that this goes through that hole, and then just squeeze it down as hard as you can. Sometimes it is difficult. Okay. Trying to get that one in. that. And this one. And last one. Because I combined 2 sets to get these, I have an extra top. And I tell you, that extra top comes in really handy. Okay, there we go. Now, move this aside. I want to show you all this. I do have this set that I could put some of these eyelets in, but it's just too small for the eyelets. One thing I do like to do if I'm going to do a whole series of things, it's nice to put the 6 in each of these ahead of time so I can just grab the little container. So if I'm pre-planning, that can be extraordinarily useful. Okay, next thing is I'm going to grab my stretchy material here, and I'm just going to go around. I'm not going to use, close this back up again. And I'm just going to cut. That's a mess. Okay. Now there are 2 ways you can do this, guys. You can take this and just kind of squeeze it down and push it straight through that way. Or you can try to push these straight through this way. I tell you, generally I do this one. Just seems to work better for me. What about this? This one is a mess. Let me trim that. There you go. Hopefully that'll work better. Okay, while I was putting this in, my husband called, which you know always kills the video. But he did find the truck key, so that's, you know, news. I tell you what, our life. Never a dull moment. Okay, so now I want you to see what I did here. I slid my ruler in right here. And the reason I do that is because I don't want it to pull back through again. I don't want to deal with that. It is a pain in the neck to get it in. I am going to pull this down a little bit and just try to even. I want these even because I didn't give myself a whole lot of wiggle room with this. Let's see. Right there. Okay. So I'm going to put this back in here. Now I'm going to tie my knot. This cord is so thick, I don't know if I'm going to have to tie a double knot. I don't think so. I think that's going to be good. Doesn't seem to be budging. Okay. I do like to test it. I'll pull it a little bit. Now, by the way, you can see that there's a little bit of, so this happened when I was getting this rivet in. That's the first time that's happened. However, you can fix that without putting it back in the laminator. You just need to get a couple of towels and an iron, and you can put this between a couple of towels. Nothing fluffy, okay, guys? And then just iron it down a little bit, and it should iron out because you can't stick it back through the laminator, of course. Okay, so that part's good to go. And I'm going to move these out of the way that I need when I'm putting that in. I do like having the eyelet there. So I'm going to trim this down. So I have been telling you guys, we've been very, very busy Little Brit was at a state competition for FFA, and he was originally he was supposed to be Little Brit and a partner doing the quiz bowl competition, and then his partner ended up not being able to come, and he knew about that a couple of weeks ago, so he was very, very nervous to be up there by himself, because normally these are teams of 4, and then at the last minute, night before yesterday, they left yesterday, he found out that they had found someone who was going to be there with him, and I know that she's a smart cookie, but the bulk of the quiz bowl had to fall on him. He was the only one who had time to study and get ready for it. So the competition was today, and he texted us and said that they won. And I am so proud of that kiddo. You know, well, you don't know. He does, anxiety is a real issue for our young people these days, which I think a lot of that came from living through COVID. And I'm so proud of him for getting up there, for competing, for trying, for doing what he did. I know it was very uncomfortable for him, but he did it. And the fact that he won at the state level, I am so, so proud of him. So, you know, if you feel like dropping a line, congratulating him, that would be, you know, really appreciated. I will show him. So I'm really proud. I don't know, because this was the state competition, I don't know if that means he then goes on to nationals. I just don't know yet. So I kind of like this thinner, by the way. I know I'm going off on another little tangent. I kind of like this thinner cording here. It goes through really nicely. It's very strong. This is actually meant for bracelets, the stuff that I'm using right now. So I know it can hold up, and it's going into these holes so nicely. And it should fit in the notebooks really nicely too. Come on. Let me see if I can give it a little bit more wiggle room. So this one, that one's good. I can pull up on this just a little bit. Pull down on that just a little bit. Yeah. And into here. Right through here. I'm going to do this again with you guys. So if you don't see the way I'm doing it, threading it this time, we're going to do it again. I'm going to do one more of these, and hopefully it'll go more smoothly. It is really actually quite funny how this can go just tremendously smoothly. Every time I do it, those 3 that I had previously done went great. And suddenly it's not for the one I do with you guys on here. So it's funny. I also do that knot. If you saw, I went through one way and then back through a different way. Okay. I really like this one. Some of these I like. Some of them I really, really like. I love this paper. I don't know why, but I absolutely love this paper. It just makes me think of airmail, I guess. And travel. Here's our wonderful little folder. And then our cute little photograph paper. Okay. That went together very nicely. Okay, there we go. Cute. All right, so let's do one of these one more time. Let's see, which one shall we do? Let's see, let's do one of these. I am so tickled with the way these came out. I just love it. I really do. I think that these came out just beautifully. Adventurous Calling, of course I will go. Okay, so put these aside, and then, you know, really my first order of business is to make the hole, and then I can decide what I'm going to use in the middle. I think I know. Let's see what we got here. You know, I also have, let me get up for a second. I don't think I have enough of these in any color. I have bits and pieces in these. Okay, those aren't, I don't have enough there. I'm trying to get more in. And I have hot pink here, but okay. What I want to do is do sort of like a copper on this one. So let me see if I actually have a copper. I don't have a copper in this one. I have silver, I have orange, gold. I really want sort of something copper. So what I might do is this one. That's really the one I like. And then I have, oh, this one. Yeah, I'm going to do this one. I think that one's going to be just like the perfect color for this. All right, found what I wanted. I don't know why I did that. First order of business is I'm going to find that center. And I use I love using the grid that's, you know, it's already right here. So I'm going to go straight to my 2.5 inches. Yep. And my awl. I'm just tracing up my middle line that's already there that I folded, you know, earlier. Okay. And getting my let's put my hole in before I do much else. Just lining that up. I can kind of see into this, kind of. So it having that hole there really does make a big difference. And I'm also trying to set it up properly. And here we go.
Oh,
found the key, huh?
Yes.
He's back. Okay, I think the camera moved while I was hammering. So, now, oh, it is off, isn't it? Okay, it's a little bit off. I'm not going to worry about that. I will say in the future, I need to move it over. When I look at it, when I'm putting it down, instead of doing it like this, where it looks like it was fine, I'll do it like this. But it will still be fine. So don't worry. If that happens to you, really, don't stress it. It will be absolutely fine. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in. And let's see, where's my piece? Hammer's over here. I'm going to move the camera like that. Here we go. Okay. Oh, that did not want to work. Huh. That did not catch yet. All right, we're going to keep going at it until it catches. Let's see how we did this time. That is still loose. Huh. Y'all, I swear, it is something about out when I get on here. All right, I'm gonna see what's going on with this, and then I'll be right back. And I forgot to turn the camera back on. Okay, so all sorts of fun. My husband says it's the curse of the camera. And I think he might be right. So this particular eyelet just would not work with the grommet. It went in, it worked, it's fine, and it's in there, but it would not work with the grommet. So, you know, I don't know, guys. I think, you know, what's important too is just to keep in mind this when we're making from scratch. We are creating from the bare minimum of materials, and stuff goes wrong, and that's okay. There is no need to be perfect. I think this one's going to be gorgeous. I love it. I already still love it. It's okay that it's off to the side. There's no reason why it can't be. But I will work on centering those. And I am using the bigger eyelets on this one. So again, it's the same thing. I switched it around to A1. It's really the ones that you use. All that hammering, by the way, is just knocking stuff off my desk. It's kind of funny. All right. I'm going to do one more of these on camera in the hopes that it actually doesn't mess up. So we just heard from little Brit. He's having a great time, and they're going off to dinner, and he is a very happy camper. He was very nervous ahead of time, ahead of the work. I mean, ahead of the competition. So I'm so happy for him, really. I know that he had been studying, and ooh, that would be pretty, wouldn't it? Use that one. I've got the bigger eyelets with this. I can do this. I hate that I can no longer get these. I used to be able to get this at Hobby Lobby, and they stopped carrying it, like so much else. So okay, let me get this. It's really it's stuck. Isn't that weird? Oh my! It's lost its elasticity. Oh no. Okay, well that would have been nice. The other ones are fine. This one is like it's like a rubber band that's lost. I mean, look at that. Like the elastic just completely broke down. Oh man. Okay, is it all of it? Yeah, it's all of it. Huh. Well, daggone it. It's the curse of the camera. I'm pretty sure that was the only one that I had that particular color. All right, back to the drawing board. I think the next best one I could do would be the pink. All right, I'm going to do this pink. It'll be fine. Or, no, the other pinks are just too, so those pinks are all too bright. And then I have that one, but it's also bright. All right. Okay. I could do white. No, I'm going to go with this. This is an extra piece, and because I had made a few of these too big, and I'm glad I held on to it because I can use this for my middle for my middle piece. Let's see. Let's see if I can put a little knot in it here. Right about. Let's try that. Let's see how that does, and then I can make another one if I need to. Because that's not going to hold. But let me see if that's going to... It can be a little bit tighter, a little bit more in. All right, so I'm going to slide that in. This is pretty close, but I think it needs to be a little bit further down. So I'm going to do this. Not too bad. And then it's going to need another one. Here's where it gets funny. Do you see how I reversed the way I wrapped it? That's kind of key. There. That should hold. Yep. Now, hopefully. Oh, yeah, plenty. Perfect. Perfect. So I am so proud of my boy. Yeah, that's good. So proud of him. I'll be excited to see how all the other teams, because there were a lot of teams doing different things. And that you just wrap it around twice, guys, because it's not going to wrap around the back. So you don't need, I'll say this piece is about 20 inches. And I'm sure it's going to be a little too big. Just let me make sure I do this from the right side. So I always start right here. I put it through the middle, and then I'm going to hold my thumb on that one. Okay. And then I come up through here, and I'm always working with the front. That's the one I'm pinching. Then I come to the bottom, and I go through here. Let's try and I go through here, and I go through here. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to come up in the middle, and right here, back through that middle one. Then that side, back through the bottom. Now, before I put it through this next one, I'm going to kind of play with these a little bit. Make sure that I have, yeah, I think that's about right. I like to snap them because I want them to really hold, and I think it's important to just double check them a little bit. Okay. Now, this is my last one. I'm going to go ahead and tie it. I don't want it, I don't want it incredibly tight. I don't want it taut, but I do want it tight enough. Okay, so I tied it that way, which, to me is just the normal way of doing things. For this next one, I've got to do it the opposite, the way that doesn't feel right, if that makes sense. Trim that down. And look how cute. Okay. And then the last thing that we do is we kind of find the middle of the book, just approximately, and we put them in. And I always put my folder in. I always use this one that has that extra little knot for the folder, because the paper is already adding enough bulk. It's these other ones. that. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4. I now have 5 out of the 19 done, which is super exciting. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, stop the video here. I'm going to go ahead and finish all of these. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to do one more with you in the hopes that it goes well. I'm just, we're just going to do this. And we're going to wish upon a star and hope that it, we don't have any more problems. So I'm going to try one more and see if we can't get it to go perfectly. And whether we can stop the curse of the filming. Okay, so let me do I haven't done a sun and sand one. Let's do a sun and sand. And first things first. First thing to do is measure 2.5 inches in. And find my middle. And move those out of the way. I'm going to move these books over here. Next, I am going to grab my post here. But this time, I'm going to line it up this way because then I'll have a better line of view to make sure I've got it centered. All right. Let's see. Can you see that there's a center right there? There's my center. No, that's not it. It's right here. It's actually really hard to see. There we go. That's my center mark. And I'm going to pull it back a little bit. That's what I want to do. I want to get it centered on there. That's better. Can't believe. All right, let me make sure. I'm going to check, and double check. The other one, again, it came out fine. It's fine that it's not perfectly centered, guys. Now you just want to drive this down because I want to cut through the whole thing. And you're cutting through, several layers. And this one didn't cut all the way through, which is really what it's doing. But to keep hammering, it fits. You can't even see what I'm doing. It fit right back in its hole. So let's do that. Did I finally get it? Yeah, pretty much. I'm just not going to hammer anywhere. I'm going to cut that little piece off. Okay. Now that is nicely centered. I'm actually going to try to use, do I have it? I thought I had, I'm going to use the yellow. I think I have, yeah, I can use the gold. I've got a few yellow in here. So with this one, this is going to be a little bit different because I don't think I'm going to try, well, maybe I will. Let's see what happens. Oh, I'm not actually sure. I'm actually not. So here's why I'm a little concerned about using this one. Because this is a flatter piece and this is meant to hold the smaller one. So I'm not going to use that. I was. Shoot. Because I thought that one was going to be perfect. Let's see what else we have. I have bronze, red, green. Let me see if I have, see, it's cursed. It is absolutely cursed. I mean, I have the bigger ones and I could indeed use one of these bigger ones. I just have to tie a bigger knot. So I'll just use the bigger one that's made for this thing, this set. Okay. So we put that down, put that in there. Okay. So what's in there is my eyelet. Now I put that there. On top of that, and I will say when I use the crocodiles, I don't use these. But because I'm not, I'm going to go ahead and use that. So that one goes there. There we go. See if I can get that to kind of settle in there. Kind of. Then I'm going to grab... There it is. How did this end up all the way over there? Sure. And actually, because of the way this fits in, it actually fits in really well. I can just let it sit there for a minute. Ready for the hammering? Here comes the hammering. I'm going to lift the camera up a little bit so I don't hit it with my hammer. Let's see. Oh, that's beautiful. But it's meant for this. I mean, that's the set. So that went in really beautifully. Okay, see? Maybe we'll break the curse. I'm going to put these over here for a minute. Okay, so we got those. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to find some of the small yellow. Let's see if I have enough yellow. Enough of these little yellows. I just need 6. 1. Come on. 2. They're so tiny. 3. There's a 4. If I can get to it. 4. Blue one tried to escape. 5. Oh gosh, is that 6? 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, I found one. If I can get to it. Come here, you. Oh my gosh, come on. It went back into the pile. There we go. 6. Perfect. Okay, let me just slide all of these back in here, hopefully without losing any. They fell into the middle of my fingers. Okay. I gotta find a better way to do that. Okay. Oh, this one's coming out really exciting. All right, so we've got that so far. Now I'm gonna grab my other crocodile. Remember, there are different ones like this. So this one, I've got to switch it again. So all I do to switch it to the other side, because this one now needs to be on, oh my goodness, why is it not focusing? That should be better. So this one now, I'm going to pull it out. Twist it. See on the top, it actually is like a little plus sign on the top. So you can move it around some more. All right, so now that one's in place. Now that's 2. So that's B. So that's B, and now I want B3. That's a 4. Golly, I don't even know if anybody can read that. This thing is being so difficult. So this right here is 3. And just move it to 3. All right. And then here, I never know which side is which. That's the side I'm going to use. See, that one's thicker. My word. And that one's the skinnier one. So that's the side I'm going to use to get a few of these holes in place. This part is definitely the most difficult part. Trying to get these even and evenly spaced. That actually came out really well. I shouldn't say anything. I don't want to jinx it. Okay. So this next one, just trying to make sure I've got it in the center of that center line. Remember the one we folded? That's really what that line's for. It's a guideline. One, and then two, and three. Oh, that one. Bottom one's not perfect. Top one is though, and I'm happy about that. Now, take this, you just put it in your hole, and I'm shoving the, you can see that. Good gracious. I'm gonna pull this out a little bit. It's very out of focus. And here we go. I like to just do one side and then the other. And I really do squeeze it kind of as hard as I can. So those are nice. And this happens, guys, because sometimes this is not as even as you think it's going to be. So I usually push up against the bottom, and it just doesn't always work as well as you want it to. But once these are on, it's just not obvious. It's fine. It's solid. Okay, let me move this out of the way. All right, so now we have that, and I'm going to use I think I'm going to use this one. And again, this is for beading. This is 1 millimeter cord, and this is for actual, you know, like the beaded braid, the beaded wristlets that people use for their car keys. That's what they're using. So it's good and strong. It is plenty strong. Now let's see. I have a couple of different yellows in here, I think. Maybe not. I'm going to use that yellow. That's another one that I got from Hobby Lobby. Don't know whether they still have it. I'm going to open this one up. So this is just going to be for my middle. And then I'm going to go ahead. This one's going to be for those sides. I usually do my middle first. This one has a wider, this one certainly is a bigger hole than the other ones. So using a thicker cord can be really helpful. So I'm going to give myself, I gave myself a little bit of extra room to tie. And actually want to see. Maybe right about there. I'm going to go ahead and put a little knot in this one to start with. Excuse me. And it's going to be right through there. Now that will not hold. That knot is not going to hold for this. Oh yeah, that's kind of perfect right there. So I'm going to put another knot in it. But I love it because this one I can just pull in and out. So I'm just going to double it up. It will make it thick on the inside, but that's really okay. that'll hold. Usually I don't do it this way, but with that being so nice and big, I can. I can just do it like that, not worry about it. Okay, so again, for my yellow, I'm gonna start about there. I'm just gonna wrap it around my middle, around my middle, around my middle, and up a little bit, and goes back into my box. So one more time, I'm holding the front, and I'm going to start by threading it into the middle piece on top. I am sure there are other ways to do this, guys. This is the way I do it. And then through and to the bottom, then into this middle, back through the top middle, okay, into the side, because you see what it's doing for us here, and into this one. Oh, come on. There we go. And then down to the bottom. And remember, this is where I test. That's a little bit loose, so I'm going to pull this over a little bit. I am going to pull that one over a little bit. Wait, gotta remember how this one does. This one, there we go. Pull this one. So this goes over here. So this one goes up a little bit. This one goes over a little bit. And this one goes down. And let's see if we're plucking now. Yeah, that's good. And then, oh, come on, through the middle. There we go. And then we're tying. So at this stage, there's not, this actually to me goes a little bit faster when I'm doing it. So I'm still kind of doing the assembly line, but now I'm doing several steps in it at one time. That's the only rule change. So instead of doing one step and so cute. Oh, not that one. This one. So remember, I do put my folder, I use that one for the one that has the knot, because otherwise it's just, the knot is a lot for that one. And then there we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 down, 13 to go. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish these, and when I see you next, I will show you all of them briefly, and that will be the end.